in France called Cap d'Agde, which has the name of the trophy of the Anatoly Karpov. Now, the former world champion Anatoly Karpov won more tournaments than any other player in history. And these days, Karpov, who is 61 years old, regularly participates in chess promoting exhibitions, but he really very rarely plays in tournaments. In honor of his achievements, every year the French seaside resort Cap d'Agde organizes a Grandmasters tournament called Trophy Anatoly Karpov, and the tournament always attracts a strong field. But this year the organizers and the chess fans were in for a special treat because Karpov himself decided to take part. In the double round robin stage of the tournament, Karpov and Vasily Ivanchuk shared the first place with 11.5 points out of 14 games each. And then the tournament proceeded into the knockout stage with Karpov and Ivanchuk both winning their mini matches to secure the place in the grand final. And then in the 10th showdown, Karpov won the trophy, narrowly defeating Ivanchuk with a result of 4.5, 3.5. I was quite impressed by the match and by the fact that Karpov and Ivanchuk played 8 games, and only one of those 8 games was a draw. So 7 decided games, only one draw, with Karpov eventually winning 4.5, 3.5. The game that I would like to show you today is a really nice one, and it was played in the qualification stage of the tournament. It was the game between Karpov and Marie Sebag. So this is what happened. Karpov was white, and he opened with d4, d5, c4, c6, knight f3, knight f6, e3 was played, and Marie used that moment to bring her bishop out on f5. Now this bishop is often a problem, much bigger problem than the other bishop on f8. So she is attempting to very quickly and very easily solve any problems that she might have with that bishop. The knight went to c3 and black played e6. Now that's a very resilient setup from black. And at this stage I was really looking forward to see what is that Karpov was going to do in order to attack black's position. And he starts immediately with knight h4. If he can obtain the advantage of the 2 bishops, then white will be a little bit better in all the variations. So knight h4, bishop went to e4, and after f3 went back to g6. That was just a ploy to weaken the pawn formation a little bit. I'm not sure that that really worked against white, because I think that white will have a chance to play e4. And well, today we are joined by my great friend, international master Maksimovic. Hello, Max, can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Davidovic. How are you?
Well, yeah, there you go. Max is there, Max is online. And, well, he will be giving us his opinion of the game and the position as well. So, back to the position. After bishop to g6, white played queen b3, attacking the pawn on b7, and black responded with queen c7, simply defending. G3 followed, knight bd7, so pretty normal developing moves. And now bishop d2. The next move is likely to be rook to c1, making use of the fact that the queen is also on the c file. So white is starting the harassment of the black queen. Bishop d2. Knight to b6, forcing the resolution. And there it comes, pawn takes, pawn takes. And I think to the surprise of everyone, Karpov castled queenside. Now, Max, what's your view on this one? Would it be a dangerous move, a dangerous plan, an interesting one? Any other suggestions on your end?
I think it is very dangerous plan, because Black can organize attack on the White King with I5 or uh, Rook C8 and C5. If I like to play as white, no long castle. Maybe suffer bishop e2 and short castle.
Bishop e2 and castle kingside. Yeah, well, that would definitely be a good option. Yeah, I pretty much agree with it. So if you couldn't see the position, what Max was talking about was black playing a5 and launching attack on the queen side, or maybe rook to c8 first and then c5, and utilizing this open c file to start an attack against the king. Well, this bishop also stops the king from going to b1 and maybe getting away from the c file, but that bishop won't be there for long because the knight can take it at any stage. All right, well, what happened is that black really played a5 straight away. So knight took on g6, which is pretty much forced. If black were not to play this move, so if we go one move back, the threat is advancing with this pawn, so playing a4 here, and the queen would be pretty much trapped. So white has no time to lose. He really has to react to take this bishop, pawn takes, and then the next move e4. Well, I think that this is a principled approach. Whenever you're attacked on the wing, you would have a reasonable position if you can have a strong response in the center. So, Max, what would be your view here? The assessment of the position, I think that white is still slightly better here. What is your view?
And I think so. White has a very strong center and much possibility as 5, f4. I like more white position now.
White position, yes. Well, black doesn't have much of a choice, so the pawn took on e4, white took on e4, and a4 trying to organize some counterplay over there. Queen went back to c2, a3, and Karpov predictably played b3, trying to close the position in front of his king as much as possible. And if he can successfully close the position and stop the attack, then he would have free hands to do whatever he wants in the center. So I think that his advantage is actually becoming bigger with every move. It's not all that clear what is it that black can do on the queen side anymore. Bishop b4, bishop g2, rook d8, bishop f4. So all of white's pieces are pretty nicely coordinated here. Queen went to e7, bishop f3, black castled, and now white plays a logical move, h4.
Yeah, h5.
h4, yeah, the threat is h5, and simply opening the position in front of the black king. Like a can of sardines, it's not all that easy to see what is it that black can do to stop it. And, well, what Marie decided to play is c5, so to undermine white's center. But then after d5, c4, yes. I think that at this stage, Karpov really needs to be a bit careful, because c5, c4 is a serious counterplay. If this c file gets opened, and black really doesn't need much time to do that, well, the next move will be pawn takes on b3 and then rook c8, and all of a sudden there will be lots of objects on c-file. The knight is there, the queen is there, and the king is there. And it's interesting how the game seems a lot more interesting now. King b1, wise move, getting away from the c-file. Pawn takes, queen takes, bishop takes. And now an important in-between move, Zwischenzug, d6 first. That move is necessary, otherwise if queen simply takes on c3, so if we take this back, and if queen simply takes on c3, then it will be possible for black to pick up the pawn on e4 with his knight and attack the white queen. So d6 first, which means that when the queen moves away, white will have a choice between taking the knight on b6 or taking the bishop on c3. Queen went to e6, and this bishop is, well, it's a bit more important than the queen. Queen took on c3. Now, a very brave move from Marie. She took on e4. She took the central pawn. I don't know whether she has any other options. Now this knight takes e4 is dangerous because you can see that the next move from white will be queen to b4, and from here the queen is attacking the knight on b6 and the knight on e4, so we have a double attack there. It's not really clear what is that black can do to avoid losing one of those two pieces. So instead of knight e4, well, next, any suggestions? Rook c8 maybe?
I can see nothing, but after knight e4 and double attack with queen b5, game is over. I don't know what can black play.
What can black play?
Very hard position. Two bishop and h5 in air.
h5 is coming as a threat. Those two bishops are covering lots of squares, and I think that this pawn on d6 is causing lots of problems for black, because it's only, well, you can see that the squares d7 and d8 are nicely fortified now, but still this pawn is cutting black's forces in two. This knight on b6 is quite isolated, and that pawn does need only two squares to become a queen. So knight takes e4, queen b4, and black simply played rook e8. I think that it's really hard to find anything better, because two knights are hanging, and after rook e8, well, if queen takes on b6, then this knight at least can go knight c3 check. So if the queen takes on b6 immediately, that's not what white played. White simply played rook e1, pinning the knight. But if the queen were to take on b6 instead, then it would be possible to play knight c3 check, take the rook on d1.
Sorry, moment.
Yes.
After rook h1, look the position.
This is the position.
Fantastic coordination of pieces, white pieces, diagonals, files.
Yes, absolutely. White has everything in order. The maximum activity of all the pieces. And yeah. I also like White's strategy of keeping everything up in the air. The threat of taking the knight on b6 is still there, and he just adds another threat by playing rook to e1 and attacks its knight on e4. So at this stage, it's nice. Absolutely. I think it's probably too late for black to do anything and to save the game here. So knight e5 was played. Rook has to take. If the rook doesn't take, if the queen moves away, then it's possible to go with knight c3 check, and all of a sudden the situation would be reverse. So I think that Marie did a reasonably good job of trying to mix things up, but unfortunately the position is just simply winning for Karpov. Queen takes, and now bishop took on e4. Oh, well, sacrificing
Hmm.
even more material, and I think that the only reason she did it was that she could give this check, Queen b5, and you can see when the king moves, then Queen b2 will be possible. But unfortunately, Black doesn't have enough pieces to follow up with this attack. So King c2, Rook c8, King went to d2, and there is one more check possible. That's Queen b2, King d1. Well,
No problem for White.
yes,
Because
well,
C1 is Bishop White control C1.
bishop from f4 controls the square, c1 square. Black is lost, and I like this self-defense of the king. Black can give few more checks. Well, this queen can go to a1, give another check, but then the king goes to e2, goes to f1, and this king will be perfectly safe over there, just doing a transition from the queen side to the king side. Queen a2 was played, d7. Well, there you go, this pawn that was splitting Black's forces for such a long time and posing a threat on d6 all of a sudden came to life. Black played rook to f8, Queen d3 with the obvious threat of promoting the pawn into the queen. Black played rook d8, blocking the queen, but that of course doesn't do the job because rook d8, rook e8 cannot be prevented. Black played king h7 rather than allow another queen to appear on the board, but Karpov simply took the rook, and that was the end of the game. Black resigned. Well, thank you very much for watching this hangout. We might have had one or two technical problems along the way, but keep in mind that this is the very first time that we are doing something like this. We will improve. We will be back with more exciting games. So stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. I'll be seeing you in few games I'll be seeing you in few days with more interesting games to come. Thank you for watching.